Hello everybody, today I'm Ryan McKinnon and we are back today again with another Bandology Getting to Know the Percussion Section series, and we today are going to be talking about the marimba. So a couple things to know about the marimba. It's laid out exactly like a piano, so all of these bottom keys here are the white keys on a piano and all these top keys are the black keys on a piano. Okay? You may very well see different sizes of marimbas, just like how we're going to talk about in xylophone. You're going to see different sizes, and with Glock as well. You might see something like a 4-octave marimba, which means it would come down to this C, so C4. You might see a 4.3 octave marimba, which means it would come down to the A below that C. And then this marimba, which is typically what you're going to see, at least in professional settings and stuff, is a 5-octave marimba. So it comes down all the way to the low C, C5. Okay. Beating spots. Talking about beating spots on the marimba, as you can see, there's a string that will go all the way through these bars that are holding it on the frame. And it happens on these ones too. There's a string. And if you play on that string, directly over top of that string, on either of these bars, you're gonna get a really gross, I would describe it as a gross sound. And it's not really full sound, it's quiet. It's not something that you like to hear. And that is called playing on the node. So that is a big no-go. You don't wanna play on the node, okay? So that's a huge thing. However, beating spots, like proper beating spots, right below the node there's a fragment of the bar that's going to be hanging off, and you can play on that. That's a good beating spot. And then in the middle of the bar, directly over the resonator, that's another good spot. Okay, and for the main keys down here, you're always going to be playing over the resonator in the middle of the bar. Okay, the only time you're going to go up to this beating spot on the edge is if you are playing something fast, or you're playing a fast passage or something, and you can't make it there in time. But typically, if you can always get there, we're going to always want to play in the middle of the bar. Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about two-mallet technique first. So two-mallet technique is very much similar to snare drum. So we're going to be holding our mallet like so, okay? We have our initial grip, just like regular snare drum, right in here. It's gonna come out just below this bone in your hand, okay? And when you're playing wrist strokes, you want it to flap around like this, okay? That's what you want, when it's flapping around like that. Now, when I'm playing on the bars, I'm thinking as if I'm playing on a trampoline. Okay, so I want to come off the bar just as fast as I went down to hit the bar. Okay, so we're doing a full stroke, and I'm thinking like I'm playing on a trampoline. I'm trying to bounce off. Okay, and that's what I'm doing. Okay, that's how I'm playing. And you're going to do the same thing with your left hand. Cool. Talking about rolls, rolls are going to be a very quick, you want to do a quick rhythmic sequence, so like, okay, we're going to do something like, you're playing faster, it's the same type of stroke, exact same type of stroke, you might engage just a little more fingers. Something to know definitely about the instrument when you're doing rolls is that if you're in the higher range of the instrument, your rolls are going to need to be faster because the sound dies out quicker. So if I'm up here and I'm doing a roll that's slow, that just sounds like da 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 da. So I have to make sure I'm going faster. However, when you're in the lower end of the instrument, it's the opposite. because the sound lasts longer. So I can you have the ability to extend them a little more, so you can roll slower down at the bottom. Cool. So that's about all for 2 mallets. Something, the next thing that we are going to talk about is going to be 4 mallets. Okay, so something to know just right off the bat about 4 mallets is that there are different grips in holding 4 mallets. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about one today. It's called Stevens grip, and this is the one that I was taught. But there are 3 grips, at least 3 general grips that are mainly used when holding 4 mallets, and they are called Burton, Traditional, and Stevens. So Stevens grip, what you're going to do is you're going to take one of your mallets and you're going to put it in between these 2 fingers at the bottom. Okay, you're going to grab it and wrap it around there. And it's just going to sit right in there like that. Okay. The next mallet, you're going to take the butt end of it and you're going to put it directly in the middle of your palm, and you're going to reach with your thumb and your index finger and grab it and just pinch it like that. It almost should look like a claw. Okay, and that is going to be your grip. Okay, so I suggest, even when you're just starting this, learning, just play regularly like that. Don't worry about changing intervals and any of that yet. Just play regular perfect fifth, basic, and try to play double strokes, or sorry, double stops, so that you're playing 2 notes at the same time with one hand. Okay? And then you're gonna do the same thing on the other hand, exact same thing, all right? Now, when you're changing intervals, the idea is if I wanna make this smaller or bigger, I'm going to physically roll this mallet along that finger. So if this is my perfect fifth interval, and I wanna make an octave, I'm rolling to do that, okay? And then same thing, if I wanna make it like a major third, I'm rolling back here, major second, right there, okay? And that's how, there's gonna be a little bit of movement in this finger, obviously, depending on if you're coming in close, if you have to extend all the way out, come back in, okay? So that's the idea for doing intervals. And to get used to that, all you would have to do is just, we're gonna talk about rotations in a second, so don't freak out when I do this, but you're gonna start at a major second, so you're gonna go, and just go out all the way. Okay, cool. So now to get into rotations, okay? So for rotations, you're gonna have 2 mallets in each hand, and you're gonna start just by trying to play this mallet, okay? On the outside of this hand. You're just gonna try to, and in doing that, this mallet really should be staying still. And you're like rotating around it almost like so. Okay? And then when you do the inner mallet, it's the same deal. You're coming up like that. And this mallet should be on the axis, rotating like this. Okay, so. Now all of this is the exact same as 2 mallet technique, in the sense of when you go hit the bar, you're coming off just as fast as you went down on it. Okay. I would just like to point out for anyone who's new learning 4 mallets in general, when you start and you're practicing all these different things and just figuring out how to hold the grip, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt your hands, and that's okay. Okay, if you have like a little bit of finger pain in there, you know, it's your fingers just getting used to that kind of thing. You don't want any joint pain. So if you have joint pain or you feel like there's something wrong, then that is something that you need to ask your teacher or, you know, talk to somebody else about. But if you feel just like regular finger pain from bruising or just from holding the mallets, that's okay. It's also very likely that you're going to get blisters like in the center of your palms from that rotation, and that's also okay. But just so you know, it's gonna be a little painful at first. Okay. Great. The next thing I'd like to talk about is double stops. So that's something that I had just mentioned at the beginning, which is when we play more than one note at a time. So if I'm playing double stops in one hand, okay, and then over here, cool. So the thing about double stops is we never want to hear flams. So we never want to hear that kind of thing if we're playing double stops. We want to hear them activate at the exact same time. Okay, so that's something to keep your ear out and open for. Is if you can hear flams, then you have to readjust what's going on within your hand. Cool. Something I was happy that was pointed out to me when I was starting to learn this was figuring out positioning. So if I'm learning, you know, a piece, doesn't matter what it is, it could be anything, and I have to play a chord over here, okay, and then my next chord is going to be down here, I have to arrange my body so that I'm getting ready to play that down there. So that's something in slow practice when you're learning pieces and you're playing like, when I came down to this chord, my body was ready to play that because I know what I'm doing. And I've done this slow enough so many times that my muscle memory in this arm was like, okay, you gotta play this chord now. So we're gonna move and make sure we're going here. I mean, stuff's gonna get more complicated as it goes on, but if there's this one section of this piece that I'm playing that is, my next chord is down here, so I have to arrange myself already, and my next note is gonna be here. So at that point, I need to be there. Okay, so it's something that we're always thinking about. It's a very physical instrument. My knees, I can pivot, and if I really need to, I can reach chords up here and down here. So that's something to keep in mind, is the stretching and the physicality of the instrument. Something that you don't want to do in the physicality part of it is you never want to cross your legs. I know you can't see this right now, but my legs are crossed. Don't cross over, don't step over like this, like you're coming down to play, or like when you're moving up the instrument or down. That's not where it's like lunges, side lunges. You're doing like shifts and your footing like that. And your knees are always bent, you're always ready. It's like you're getting ready to play a sport almost, this one. Cool? Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to marimba is mallets. Okay, so I have tons of mallets. You can have anything between like really soft and like legato sounding mallets to extremely hard and very articulate sounding mallets. All the mallets are going to do different things. All of them have different cores. All of them are wrapped with, different, fabrics and materials. And you kind of want to figure out what those each sound like. When you're looking to choose a type of mallet, you really want to listen to the piece that you're playing. Like listen to a recording of it or somebody else playing it. I find that if I'm playing a piece and I'm listening to that, and I've heard a bunch of different people play it and stuff, and some of them have similar sounds, some of them have different ones. It becomes more up to me and what I've liked so far, and what I've heard that I've liked and what I really didn't like. If there's a specification that says like you need to play with really hard articulate mallets here, then you should probably do that. Or if it's vice versa, the same thing, you should probably do that. But if it's more like, okay, what do I think sounds good and why do I think it sounds good, then that's something that you can mess around with and stuff. If you're playing a marimba in like a band setting, I typically the hardness or softness of the mallet is written in actually from a lot of the music that I've seen. But unless your band director specifically tells you something, I would definitely try and figure it out on your own. If you're playing a passage that's like really accompanimental, you probably want like a general hardness of mallet, because you don't want to get buried behind the orchestra. Not a whole lot of people are going to be able to hear this thing over the rest of the band playing. But if you're playing something that really needs to speak out and is like a huge melody part, then you probably need to go with something harder. Okay, cool. Something to think about when you're playing 4 mallet pieces is something called an educated set. So that would suggest that, say I'm playing here, I can just take a whole random bunch right now. So say I'm playing, this is a really soft mallet. This is a medium hard mallet. This is another medium hard mallet. And we're gonna go with a really hard mallet. Okay? So I put the soft mallet in the bass area so that when I'm playing the bass, it sounds like nice and resonant. I have 2 mediums in the middle so that anything I'm like, fiddling around with up here sounds like relatively, articulate, but not overly hard. And then everything that I play on this mallet, on the 4th one, all the way up here, all the high stuff, is really hard, so that that high section of the marimba speaks out. Cool. Like I said, articulations are going to be different within the high ranges. I kind of spoke on that before, within the high range and low range of the instrument. So, if you're playing with really soft mallets, I guess I'll even be more exaggerated here. If you're playing with really soft mallets down in the low section, okay, I don't really need to play that hard. But if these are like relatively soft mallets, and I'm playing up in the high section, I probably got to be more articulate with these. So you would never usually play with these in the top section. But if you're playing a piece, say that you can't change mallets, or you don't have time, or I'm in one section, I'm down here, and then I have 2 bars of rest, and I don't have time to grab these, and I gotta haul up here and play whatever it is, then you're gonna have to be more articulate with the soft mallets that you've chosen. Okay, and same goes for down here. If you're playing really hard stuff, and you're playing up here, and all that, and you can play regularly down here. But if I have the same mallets and I have to come down here, you want to be a lot softer, because these are going to damage the bars if you're playing way too hard with these down in the low section. Cool? Cool. All right, well that is all for marimba technique today. So now I'm going to play you just a quick minute or so of a 2 mallet piece.
Thanks for joining us. If you like what you heard, you can learn more about our organization at bandology.ca, which features information about music education, advocacy and research, and our Play a Gig and Bandcamp programs. Follow us on social media for more videos, performance, and interviews on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.